Ryan McGuire, who was playing the Tactical Brigade, boys. So we had Tactical Brigade. They didn't have double orders. It's been quite a hot minute. Really, the only thing that got changed was in that quick time was the DACA. So we know that this guy was definitely using one order when he was getting this done. So this was the Montana Beerhammer GT, where he ended up going 4-1, but he did go 4-0 for his first 4 games. So even though he did end up in ninth place, that we're gonna see here, that's why sometimes rankings can be a little deceiving because, like, oh no, that was in ninth place. Sorry, he was in seventh place. I messed up. Sorry, guys. I'm lying. Anyways, lying. Was this guy? I think Matthew was playing War Dog. Was he? No, he was playing Warhorde, a different one. He was playing Conquer. That was another player that did well. Shout out to you, Matthew. But we were looking at Tactical Brigade here. Ha. Okay, sorry, I jumped out. It was Ryan. My guy. So Ryan, shout out to you guys. So Ryan did end up going 4-1, like I said, with his Tactical Brigade list. So let's take a look at that, where he did end up getting 7th place, where you have 2 beast bosses. We'll talk about that. A Big Mech in Mega Armor with Mech Captain, which is arguably the reason you're playing the detachment. A Big Mech with Shock Attack Gun with a God Boomer, and then another Big Mech with Shock Attack Gun. 2 war bosses. And then 2 10. And then we'll talk about the 10 man unit stack is 5 trucks. He went for the full 5 trucks on this one. Pretty risky because he brought no infiltrators, right? Then we have 2 5-man units of burner boys, really to fill out those SWAT teams. Even just paying for that little bit 40 points difference between the flash kits, help you get another grot unit on the field, and it's worth it. A 10-man unit of flash kits for the Big Mech in Mega Armor, followed by 3 minimum size unit of grots, 2 5-man units of knobs with power claws, and then 2 10 units of tank busters. The knobs did have smash hammer, so he can load these up in a multitude of ways. Simply because he has the burner boys and the amount of trucks that he has, he can do some leapfrogging where units get inside of a start inside of transport, disembark, move into a building to stage, and then a different unit jumps into that transport. The transport then moves and stage up in a different spot, and you kind of use the additional 3 inches here and there to maneuver. What else we were talking about here is the beast bosses. So sometimes people say, why would you need 2 beast bosses? Well, one thing is this detachment has access to sustain, which changes what the beast boss can do, unlike in bully boys, right? If you bring a bully boy in beast boss and bully boys, he doesn't have access to sustain. That means he's really getting capped out at like 6 dev wound damage, on average. You can, if you're lucky, maybe 8. So a lot of the time you're like, well, I really need sustain to really get off on him, and he's your damage outside of the wall, right? Sometimes you really can't access your wall too early, but you really do need to be able to problematic unit. The beast boss allows you to still get that early game respect in combat for enemy armor and transports that you wouldn't necessarily have otherwise. That means you can then reserve the knobs with the war bosses for the war turn, where they get off and have access to their data sheet ability for the additional attacks. That's where it ends up being important. So in that way, that's nice as an orc player for you to understand as the beast bosses. I like to take 2. Your list do get quite character heavy here, right? Because then you have 2 beast bosses, 2 war bosses, 2 shock attack guns, and then the mech captain. So that's already 7 characters on your list, which ends up being kind of the minimal still when you're taking tactical brigade, which shouldn't be surprising because we lost orders. So it ends up being that what you're leading is really a lot of the time just exactly what you're going to give orders to, and it ends up kind of being that simple, right? There are times now where you really will just tell your tank buses, I'm just gonna give yourself stealth. You're gonna hang on to the +1 that you're getting natively, and then even on the knobs, for example, right? You're gonna just put stealth on yourself for the clapback response. So now it comes down to, or even your mech captain, right? People do ask, well, was my mech captain only getting 1 order? Well, if you're re-rolling the hit roll and you're not like in super distress need to overwhelmingly kill that unit, then maybe don't give yourself +1 to hit. Give yourself that sustain for on the clapback, then where you're more likely to actually take advantage of your 4-up info and also at range. So I think a lot of the time for these units that you're also going to just be sticking stealth on everything on that go turn, on that wall turn, to really take advantage of your defensive self. Now, there are some matchups where you might need to use the offensive side of that, right? Where you might need to be like, well, I can't just afford to put stealth on everything. I need the throttle here and killing. So shout out to our sponsors, the Baron of Dice, as they helped us do our wall tactic dice. So shout them out. check them out in description. 5% off in the discount because nobody likes taxes. And shout out to Bear Enough Dice. They allow us to do our paint competition. So thank you very much to them. Let's take a look at his path to victory here. So he started off hot because in his first game he got a 100-point win, where he went into the Adeptus Mechanicus. So it was Belisarius Call, Cybernetica dudes, marshals, some tech priests, 3 units of rangers, 4 big bricks of the robots, and then a unit of sterilizers, followed by 3 units of Skataran infiltrators. So those robots are getting kind of dogged by beast bosses with sustain and tank busters on this list. So he ended up running that through. Not too many people are too familiar with AdMech, so I'm not going to hold you there. But he did go into Colin into his next game, which was against the Space Marines Gladius Task Force. So he said he has a million CP. So he has a apothecary, biologist with fire discipline, Captain Tigerius, Phobos armor, Melanius Calgar, Gilliman, and then Uriel Ventress. He has an impulsor, followed by 2 units of company heroes, a brick of eradicators, inceptor, infiltrators, 5 stern guard, another 5-man unit stern guard, and then the Caladius assassin. Very much hero hammery going on here. I'd like to know the mission to really give some more context. This is totally, in my opinion, within winning for Taktikal Brigade. There's a lot of reliability on them actually killing you, so this could be one of those matchups where you're like, well, stealth won't really help me. They're pretty reliable and getting multiple. I might need to really throttle into killing these units on that one go turn that I get, because even if a little bit of them is left alive, a little bit too much, they're going to continue momentum and kill my army too quickly. But I do think the mission, knowing the mission would make a big deal there. So let me pull up our boys list here real quick. And yeah. Oh, okay. So I had actually taken my dudes list off about that. Sorry, let me look at chat real here quick. How you guys chat? How does chat? Now that you guys are all here, there's a good number of you guys here. How do you guys actually feel about Taktikal Brigade? Have any of you guys actually played it since it's been nerfed? Because a lot of people were kind of just really sad about the fact that it got nerfed, and we're just kind of counting it down and out already. But then there's also like a big faction, portion of the org community that was like, well, I think it's actually the best detachment, and I'm going to be playing that nonstop. So like, where are you guys at on that one? Because I personally I like Dreadmob, like I'll run it. But when I'm looking like for its most competitive, I'm still probably gonna run just what I like, to be honest. But I could understand if someone's bringing something else, and so I'm not gonna hold anybody to it if they're going for it. But I don't like, I'm not too hero hammer kind of heavy, but you still find, you're still bringing 4 to 5 characters on an orc list. So bringing 2 more for Taktikal Brigade to make it work still isn't that out of the question, or isn't too much. So that being said, I think that matchup is totally winnable. Let's go to his third game, where he goes into the Custodes, which, man, that this matchup, us having tank busters and shooting potential changed the dynamic greatly. This is one of those where you're definitely like, well, my tank buster is getting +1 to hit here, because I'm picking you gets up. I'm picking you gets up and shooting when I can in the time that I can. So he has 2 units of Blade Champion, Terminator with Shield Captain Terminator armor, Dawn Eagle jet bike, 2 5-man units of guard, and then a 4-man unit of guard, 2 a 2-man unit of Terminators, some Prosecutors, 2 Venatari, and then Virtus Praetors, and then Draxus. Draxus is great for leading those units, the guard, but not seeing Wardens on here is a great relief typically to most orc players in that. So let me see it real quick. I should check. Did those Guardians have shields? No, that's beers. So that means they were just getting just kind of rinsed. They're kind of rinsed by the tank busters. You know what I mean? They're like, well, you 3 damage. You didn't bring your shields. Sorry. So love that. Let me get rid of some of these tabs here. What are you guys saying in chat? Do you guys respond? Yeah, Taktikal Brigade, you get more choices and more personalized. And it makes the it makes the tank buster data sheet really hold up that detachment. It's true. But will the detachment be the reason that data sheet takes another points increase? Or will it be Dreadmob, right? But Dreadmob isn't necessarily going to be doing as well as reliably. I think a lot of time, because people are scared of blowing themselves up. I don't know what kind of scared of blowing themselves up, but hey, whatever. But that's what we're aware of, right? So then we move on to the 4th game. But yeah, people like to be cunning. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I tried DACA once and then I got nerfed. Yeah, I feel you on that, dude. So then we go to this fourth game. We have Scatter Star Arsenal. And I don't think they're gonna nerf Tactical Brigade anymore, by the way. The only thing that might get nerfed are the tank busters, in my opinion. So we have Hexmark Destroyer, Emotech the Stormlord, Scorpec Destroyer, Technomancer, Silent King. Dude, these tank busters go off in this matchup too, guys. Remember, anything low tough. I was just thinking about this today. How it just changes the game here. So Scorpec Spiders, Canoptic Wraith, Doomsday Arc, Doomsday Arc, or the T9 guys. Winning these guys on twos. Oh, that's disrespectful. 2 units of Blade ones, Ophidian Destroyers, and then Tomb Blades. So that's disrespectful, right? Typically, these guys are like, well, I can just the orc player can't do anything to me. But now it's like, well, I'm winning you on twos with my tank busters. You can't. That's a big deal. Big, and hitting them +1 a hit. Big deal. Well, they already get +1 a hit. There's one of those matchups where you're gonna have stealth. Because typically once they have to shoot back at you, they're not nearly as reliable, like we said, of those space marines where they get those innate rerolls in the same way. So they're not going to be reliably picking up all your tank busters, especially once you take in a pound of flesh away from them. Not to mention the beast bosses that you have, so they can't necessarily close the distance. A lot of time when they have this Silent King on the list, they're like, well, I'm going to kind of stat check you with the Silent King and not respect you. And in this case, you can't really do that. And when they do come forward, they do commit the Silent King, then you have double beast bosses and whatever mortal wound potential. So they're pulling a 100-point win there. Great job. I love it. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Even though orcs got hit, tank bosses fundamentally change all the matchups for us. All of them, just by having tank bosses access now and the timing of our wall. So even before Grotmas, we were doing good without those two things. So holding on to Tactical Brigade and DACA being what really carries us can't be the deal. It can't be the case because tank busters themselves in tandem with the shock attack gun are just too crazy on the support that it kind of gives us an options they get us in so many matchups. So then we go into his last game, which is against Astra Militarum, Hammers of the Emperor. So he has Rogaldorn Commanders, 3 of them, and then Slime Marbo, a unit of Cadians, followed by a unit of Catachans and a Deathcrow Krieg, some engineers, some more Rogaldorns, 3 of them to be exact, and then 2 Sentinels. So all tanks, and like we just said, Tank Bus has fundamentally changed this because I can reach out and shoot one of the Dorns, 2 of the Dorns, and I can punch them out with my beast bosses, and then on my other units I'm putting stealth, and you're not really going to kill me, and then you just run out of assets to activations to kill all my units, and I still end up winning on points on that. So he ended up getting a 77-point win on that with the Tactical Brigade. So I really love the Tactical Brigade where it's still at, and when it comes down to it's a lot of characters. It is the vast majority of orc lists are bringing 4 to 5 characters as it is. So 2 more, 1 more, isn't always going to be big deal notable, right? I do think that it's very important though as an orc player for you to still bring melee and understand that the kind of the barriers that are broken here. Knobs getting +1 strength and then another +1 strength on the wall means now they become kind of armor crackers where there's certain armors, T10 armor that we can actually end up destroying, even with one of these small units of 5 knobs that we typically couldn't do, or we're able to wound stuff outside of the wall on 2 pluses, such as elite infantry on getting the strength 10 outside of the wall, and then you can still pop sustain, so you still get some good amount of volume into that. And then flash gets themselves, how it changes the dynamics of melee matchups, which is having that overwatch potential and the fact that they're 4-ups in Vol, and then you're giving them stealth most of the time. You're already rerolling hits. Don't get too greedy and think I have to give myself +1 to hit. You might actually end up spiking from the fact that you're rerolling more your 4s into that as well. So don't overlook Tactical Brigade just because it doesn't roll out with double orders anymore. I still think orcs are in a great spot with that. And shout out to Mr. Ryan McGuire for running that cunning war for them wall tactic. Be a cunning get and check out our new order markers that are in our store. So shout out to you guys being cunning. Help you guys get all the orders set on the table nice and clean for all you get to get stuck in. If you enjoyed the clip, check out the full video here. If you'd like to see more tactics, click here.
Let's get stuck in, lads!